Hello gamers, and welcome back to Beyond the Emulator's Retro Recap with your host Dylan. In today's review, I'm going to be breaking down some TrimUI firmware news that I've been testing over the past few weeks, as well as the Miyoo. I will be sharing my TrimUI Smart Pro-S and my Miyoo Flip handheld with some firmware options, and we will squeeze in some gameplay as well. I'm going to include all those links below. I'm going to actually be featuring the TrimUI Smart Pro-S, comparing some firmware with SpruceOS, NX-Redux, and Knulli Scarab, as well as showing off my Miyoo Flip V2, comparing firmware options with NextUI, Knulli Scarab, and SpruceOS. So, if you have any suggested platforms for gameplay, go ahead and leave a comment. And in coming future episodes, I'm going to be able to share the Trimui Brick Pro. Which firmware would you like me to share? So sit back, grab your favorite TrimUI device, and follow along as we tweak your setup for peak performance. We're going beyond the emulator. And if you enjoy these handheld deep dives, please drop a like and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for all your support. Now, without further suspense, let's get started. So welcome. So first device we're going to actually do is Spruce. What I'm running is the latest. We'll move over the Flip for a second. We are running the latest Spruce version 4.3.4. And I've been doing some testing on it, working really well. There's a fan assembly that's in there for the back fan that's being used on the S model. I can show you where that setting is. So if you were able to go to just additional settings, I want to say you go to system settings, and there's a thermal control, customize the fan. Right now it's set at medium. You can see it can be an off, additive, low, medium, or high. If we go ahead and put it at high, definitely can hear the fan a little bit more as it's blowing. So what I wanted to be able to share is a few games I've recently had going really well here on SpruceOS. And then what we're going to do is shut down this version, and I'm going to go ahead and put in another firmware to show you some examples. So everything that I basically have set up, I've got Super Nintendo, I've got artwork, I've got Sega Saturn, ones that have favorites, they're all completely working. PlayStation, I've added some few games recently, Destruction Derby. So for here, Destruction Derby, I don't have any artwork. I can go ahead and just select X. Right now it's showing it's on my emulator for Swan Station. Might have been for a pinball game that had to use Swan Station, so we'll go ahead and we'll leave it at PCSX rearmed. But we'll scroll down here, down to download box art, or select box art download. We'll go ahead and select box art download. We've got Destruction Derby right there. We're going to go ahead and select it. Now it's downloaded the box art. So now we have an image here. We could also do it for Destruction Derby 2. Go ahead and do the X. As you can see, my emulator stayed the same. Here's the other option, download box art. Same very similar option. There's Destruction Derby 2. And if I were going to go ahead and press A, I believe, I can't recall if I played it on this quite yet, but I'm going to go ahead and press A. We're going to select Destruction Derby, boots right up. I've got my RetroArch set up where I show my frames per second. So you would go into your RetroArch and you can display your notifications. We'll go ahead and turn the volume up. Seems that every time I boot it up, the volume is always down at 0. I don't believe I have a save state. Go into my Chivos menu. We're loading. There we go. We'll get right to the main screen. We can go right up here, do a practice run. Audio is really good. Buckle up and sit tight. Feel the volume could be a little bit better on these devices. Not too bad of an image. There we go. We're about second. Trying to get this guy in first place. My steering skills are not as good as me driving normally. There we go. So game works really nice. Whoa, got some damage there. I'm going to go ahead and put it on pause, go to our menu. I'll come back to that game a little bit later. We'll do a save state, and we'll go ahead and exit. So just wanted to kind of give you a preview. Sony PlayStation is working really well on SpruceOS version 4.3.4. Sony PSP, I want to say Tiger Woods has actually worked really well. Most of these games are using the latest SSPP version 1.20.3. Ports have actually been very successful lately. I've been able to get Grand Theft Auto Vice City, San Andreas running. Just give you a preview of how that game's working. Unfortunately, my language is actually in another language. I believe it's German. Loading. But that's the loudest that we have for volume. We'll go ahead and skip. There we go. So you're able to move around with the right joystick. But as far as moving, it is in another language, so we need to go back and get the bike. There we go. As far as getting him going, not a problem. He's riding the bike really well. Take it down the railroad tracks. I'm not able to read the language that's being put in here, so me not being an original gamer of this game, I'm not going to be doing so well. But this basically gives you an example. Image is really good. He's able to walk. He's able to run. Going to come over here.
Please pay attention.
Oh, he ran off. Hey, buddy.
Oh, excuse me.
There we go. Bust a window.
I'm having this. I can't believe it just happened to me.
Now we're getting shot at. So here's just a quick example. Giving you that. We'll go ahead and get out of it. We're going to go ahead and scroll out of here. Seems that my joystick doesn't seem to be moving so quickly. When I'm trying to move my menu, I've tried to use it on another couple firmwares. One more. There we go. Exit out of the game. So just wanted to kind of give you a preview as far as everything else. There we go. We've got Nintendo, Neo Geo, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 64. I've been very successful on quite a few different games. I've been actually using the Ludicrous core. So for this Mystical Ninja, if we go ahead and press A, using the Ludicrous core provides you retro achievements through RetroArch. We're going to go ahead and go to my load state. We'll hit the last save state there, and we'll load it up. Go ahead and press A. And he is working just fine. We're going to jump down here. He's able to move, not a problem. We're running at about 30 frames per second. So just looking at your options with Spruce, there's quite a few cores that are really adaptable for N64 games. So that's going to be my example of SpruceOS, version again 4.3.4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and exit. We're going to go over to my main menu, to settings. We're going to go ahead and do a power off. We're going to shut this down. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run NX-Redo. So this device has been shut down. We're going to go ahead and remove the card out of here. So this is my SpruceOS, which we're going to be sharing also on the Flip. We're going to go ahead and get this card NX-Redo that I have. All my cards are basically A2 cards, and they're 128. I feel like 128 gigabyte works just fine. So now we're going to go ahead and run NX-Redo again on the TSPS. We're going to get the Spruce boot logo. It's going to boot right up. Move our card out of the way. I've got lights going on this one. And there we are. We're at NX-Redo, booted right away. So these are games that I've actually played with. I've gotten Dustlight to work. I know there's a recent update that was just done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Tools. So by doing that, I'm going to press my menu key. I go to Tools. We're going to go down to Settings. We're going to go down again to About. So I'm going to the last item on the menu. So I'm just reversing my... We're going to scroll down. We're on the previous NX-Redo version 1.70. We're going to go ahead and install the update. This actually tells you that the screenshot and screen recording is working more reliable everywhere, as well as PortMaster has now been installable as an extra entry instead of part of the bundled tool pack. So when you do your update, you'll see those details here in print. We're going to go ahead and do A to install it. We'll let that do its installation. Maybe take about a minute or so to do that update. And then we'll go ahead and look at that extra pack and see how PortMaster has been moved. We'll also check out the Gen 1 recomp. And then also, the only standalone emulator that you'll be using is the PSP, besides PortMaster. So that has actually been brought over from NextUI. And that's running the PPSSPP 1.19.3, I believe. So we're checking our download now. We're verifying our update. So some really cool firmware has just come out. A lot of good stuff for everybody to be able to try out if you have a couple extra SD cards, or if you have a specific game platform you like more than others. I feel Spruce has actually done really well with some of the PortMaster. I've had some challenges with NextUI with some of them. Knulli has done really well as Miyoo. So, and then there's also CrossMix in the mix, and that as well is adaptable to play quite a few PortMaster, PSP, PSX. So all the way around, it's basically your preference of what you like to see and what you like to have played. I kind of like the variety, obviously, to be able to share with everybody in my community. So while it's rebooting, we've still got that Spruce logo. We're doing a quick update it's showing. It's updating it as well. This is the latest version, version 1.8.0 for NX-Redo. This is a fork off of NextUI, more customized to the developer's needs. And he's been able to share that with everybody. It works really well. It's across to be able to be used through the Brick Hammer, the TSP, the TSPS, and the new Brick Pro that's out. So there, our screen is back up. We're going to be able to scroll down. We'll go to our ports. We've got a list of ports here. We're going to go over to Go Tools. We'll go ahead and scroll down to Extras. And you can see the Gen 1 Recomp is here with an update. And Tools, PortMaster is installed, as well as the PPSSPP. So there's no reason we need to do really an update there. But I'd like to share a quick example before this battery dies and we got to charge up and keep going. So we're going to go over here to our extra games. We're going to go to Gen 1 Recomp. Nothing should have changed since my last time. You're going to go ahead and use your left analog to be able to go to any game. We're going to go to the red this time. I'm going to go ahead and press A. I'm going to go ahead and just select it, and it's going to go ahead and boot it right up. And for some reason we do not have a volume. There we go. We're going to go ahead and do a continue. And there we are. Don't go away yet. We still need to get our Pokemon. We could get Squirtle. We could get Charmander Lizard. We're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to go ahead and just keep it at Charmander. Now John's going to go ahead and select a Pokemon. We're going to go through a couple scenarios here. Let's check out our Pokemon. There's a beautiful image here. John wants to fight. He's going to put out Squirtle, and we're going to be able to put out Charmander. So here's just a quick example of showing how Gen 1 Recomp works on NX-Redo. And then if I also press my menu key, or even my home key button, it actually gives me my display here. So you can actually see my on-screen display. Right now we don't have anything that we're used. We'll go ahead and get out of that. But it's basically going to show us we're stuck in this game until this battle is over. So let me put this on pause because my battery's about, or my SD card is about to die, and we're going to go ahead and continue in 1 second. So we are back. I've got now about 2 hours full of memory, so we can do some more recording. So we're back to NX-Redo, and I was able to have to force myself out of the Gen 1 Recomp. There's no way when we get into a battle to do a save or an exit in that. So I wanted to be able to share a couple other games real quick as well on this platform. Dusklight works through PortMaster. We're going to go ahead and select it. I was able to get the furthest, I believe, running it on this game. Got a really good image. Turn the volume a little bit. I've got my save state already set up. We're going to go ahead and select it and start right from there. So he's able to move around, going down the stairs. And I believe it crashed on us. Oh, I am so sorry. So that's where we still have some issues. It seems to work at the beginning from the front end, but sometimes from a save state, it seems to glitch up and freeze out and then exit. So more work to be done on it. More details later. Lastly, I wanted to show Dreamcast, which is working really well on the TSPS actually, with NX-Redo. So using like Gauntlet Legends, we're going to go ahead and press X because I've got my save and loads already going. And I'm basically able to jump right back into my game. Not a bad image. I don't know what my frames per second is. Let's go ahead and press select. It's going to go ahead and go to my game menu. If I go ahead and press my menu, there we go. This is a little bit different than NextUI, where the NextUI is actually opening up the flycast. This here, going ahead and pressing menu, is allowing you to go to continue save states, and in the emulator options you're able to make those changes. So we can actually just do a continue. But as far as the working of it, Gauntlet Legends, working great. So I just wanted to be able to share another really good example. Good screen, good image, good latency. We're not having a problem with fighting. Everything seems, we got a lag there. But as far as him, there we go. Seems like my joystick might be out a little bit of calibration. We're going to go up the hill. We've got that down. There we go. But as far as the workability, looks great. We're going to go ahead and do a save state from there. We're going to go ahead and press over to my latest. So we'll take where I proceeded on slot 4. Going to go ahead and save it. Going to go ahead and press menu. We're going to go ahead and quit. And we're going to move on to Knulli Scarab running for the TSPS. So we'll bring back my menu here. We're going to go ahead and do, which would be my home key. As you can see, it's highlighted here. We're going to go ahead and press menu, or the power off. And it shuts down. A little bit of a vibration, but everything works really well. So just a couple comparisons here. Let's go ahead and take the SD card out of it. And now we're going to run Knulli Scarab example. Get that guy in there. I did a video previously on both of these with the first boot and setup. So we're going to go ahead and boot up Knulli Scarab. As you can see, because the way this image is being designed, the boot logo actually went with the Knulli Scarab. We'll go ahead and see how we're doing here. I haven't used this in a little bit, but let's see as far as what we had on the platforms. Seems to take a little bit longer to boot up. I am using an A1 card, so that could be my issue as well. I have not found a full card to do a build. I've got it open right to ports. We actually have Dustlight on there, which I've showed an example. Marvel Cosmic Invasions as well. Ship of Harkanian. Let's go ahead and see if that boots right up. I've been really on a binge of ports lately. So I might be sharing a lot of port action online. If you follow me on Reddit, you'll also see some pictures and images that I've been sharing a lot lately through groups and communities. So it booted right up. Not a problem. Audio is a little bit distorted there. But as far as the image, we'll get to it. Going through our storyline. I've got my LED rings, lights going around here. Got a little bit of a vibration. We're going to get to opening screen. So just want to show you that on Knulli Scarab, either running it on the TSP or the Brick, probably the TSP or the TSPS, you'll be able to run Ships of Harkanian. Good image, high res. Everything is working fine as far as the verbiage on the screen. We'll get through this dialogue. I believe if you have some sort of a joystick, there is a way to change some of the settings that are up above here. I'm not really sure what the hotkey combo might be. But as you can see, the image that's going to go through the valley, there's a little bit of their lag based on the size of the ROM that is being used. It's workable. So just wanted to kind of give you a quick example of that. You actually will see some reality of it actually lagging in some spots. But it is playable if you wanted to play the N64 or a little bit more high res using Ships of Harkanian through PortMaster. We'll go ahead and exit out of that. We'll go over and see we've got Sega Mega Drive. We've got Dreamcast as well. We've got Neo Geo, PlayStation. Rapid Reload works really well. PSP, Guilty Judgment, Gear Judgment works really well as Sengoku Misou. We'll go ahead and proceed with that. And I'll show you my settings that I'm using on the PSP. So we've got our save state from back in July. Going to go over to my game settings. I'm using the Vulkan Core 2x resolution, not using the full screen because it's already going to give us a full screen. Replacing the textures, we're not doing any frame skips. We've set up our alternative speed at unlimited. Everything else is pretty much basically the same. I think the upscale faster, whoops. I believe it looks like it was changed to a different version. So we're going to do the Texture 2 XBRZ. That seems to be the version that's being available. And the anisotropic filtering at 4x. And we're going to have our frame counter. So we're going to go ahead and load it where we're at, last state. Go ahead and proceed. We're at about 30 frames per second. Giving us an example of the game. There we go. Being that I'm not able to read the language, I have to kind of just go through what would be guessing as the proper spots to play. There we go. We're at about 33. There we go. Working really well. And again, we're not using any frame skip. There we go. Kind of have some sort of a ghost image here. There we go. But as far as it working, not a problem at all. Oh, there was a little bit of a lag. So just kind of giving you an example there, using the PPSSPP, running on NX-Redo, or actually Knulli Scarab, I'm sorry. And we'll go ahead and exit out of that. And we're using the version 1.19.3. So this is my TSPS project that I was sharing off with the firmware comparison, just to kind of give you an idea of what was being offered using either SpruceOS or NX-Redo or Knulli Scarab. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pop over here, and we've got the Miyoo Flip, and what I've got built into here right now is NextUI for the Flip. So this is basically a beta release. You don't want to use the updater. It's found on Discord. They're sharing the files. But I've set it up with basically Game Boy Advance. I've got my artwork set up. I've got some NES games that have worked really well. If I go over here to, for example, Ghosts and Goblins, I've already got my retro achievements set up. And we're right away into a game. If I needed to go to my menu, I would go ahead and press my menu key. I get my basically the same similar setup that is here available in NextUI. Front end, emulator, shaders, cheats, achievements as well, and shortcuts. So everything is basically very similar to how you would use it on the Brick without the analog sticks, or if you were using it on the TSP or TSPS. So we'll go ahead and continue. And I'm already not doing well. Not doing well at all. We'll get this another try. There we go. So games like this working really well on the Flip. And I'm able to use the analog stick if I don't feel like I wanted to use my D-pad. So just kind of a quick example there. We'll go ahead and quit. I've got some other ports that I've been working on. A couple of them have worked. I would say Chromag Rally works. Devolution X works. I've picked up a Grow Seed Pinball. Ship of Arcanian I don't believe works at all. Schoolyard Pinball works. Stardew Valley I believe does not work. Or TM Shredder. Few games I've been testing out recently. But if you go over here to the menu key, it's going to give you the same similar outline that you have in NextUI. If I go over to my tools, there's only a small selection of tools that are available for the Flip at this moment. So Artwork Scraper, Battery, Boot Logo, Cheat Downloader Offline. We've also got Gallery, Itch.io works, Moonlighting, the Pack Store, Porting McPortface, which is actually going to allow you the port times to be used for using PortMaster, and Scapegoat, which includes artwork, cheats, and manuals, Screenshot Monitor, and your settings. But you don't want to use the updater because it will provide you a release that's actually been available online and not the beta release that's currently being used. So just be cautious of that. So just wanted to kind of give you an example, just what was available using NextUI on the Miyoo Flip. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shut this down. We'll go ahead and press my menu key. We're going to go ahead and do a power down. So now that we've powered it down, we're going to go ahead and just remove the SD card. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run Knulli Scarab. So again, we've got a 128 card. We need to put it in the right direction. We're going to go ahead and boot this up. So these are the three firmwares that I've been playing around with. I'm also going to be able to share with you the Spruce version that I actually had just moments ago running on the TSPS. There we go, Knulli Scarab. Bingo, here we are. So Knulli Scarab is running on the Miyoo Flip. We've got ports. We've got Sega Saturn. I've had a few games I've tested. I've got Super Nintendo. We've got Atari, Dreamcast, Game Boy Advance, Sega N64. So if we go over to N64, Hydro Thunder works really well. Mega Man works really well as well. Mega Man 64. So if we go ahead and press our A key, it's going to basically go over to Advanced Game Options. We want to see what it's going to use. It's going to use an auto emulator. We're going to go ahead and run with it with the Rice, because I feel that that actually works really well. If that one does not seem to go as a standalone, we'll go to the Mupen 64 Plus next. So we're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to go change our power mode to high performance. We're going to go ahead and proceed by pressing A and game on. I do have, I believe, a few... Oh, it failed. Interesting. So what we're going to need to do is let's go ahead and change that core to our backup option. So we'll go with the Mupen 64 Plus next. So sometimes this is a challenge of trying to boot up games. There we go. This allows us our retro achievements.
In a world covered by endless water, people
Audio is really good. Mega Man 64.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Mega Man. Mega Man. Mega Man.
So
Wait a second. There should be a lever bot around there somewhere. Can you see it? It looks like a small one. You should be able to take it down with your
audio is really well on this. Getting out of these instructions. So as you can see, either by using the D-pad, there we go, not a problem. You can see I can either use my analog here, or I can use my D-pad and to move up and down. Whoops. This actually gives us another menu. But as far as not a problem with this gameplay.
turn right there.
Working really well. Now if I were going to go ahead and do my menu and B, I could go over here to my settings. We'll go over to our settings, go over to our user interface, go to on-screen notifications, going to go to notification visibility, and we've got our frames per second. So if you wanted to be able to see that, we're running at about 60 frames per second.
Can you see a door nearby?
But as far as him working, not a problem. Game is working great. So just wanted to share that example. We'll go ahead and close out of the content. We'll go ahead and do a quit. We've got Nintendo, PlayStation, PSP. We'll go to ports again. I want to say the Simpsons Hit and Run works. We're going to go ahead and proceed with that. And there we go. Simpsons Hit and Run through ports is working on the Miyoo Flip using Knulli Scarab. And basically, if you want as well, you're able to connect to your HDMI. I've had success with Knulli with a controller and been able to play it on my TV. So I just wanted to share that as well. We're going to go ahead and exit out of that. Lastly, we're going to go ahead to my menu. is we're going to share off SpruceOS running on the Miyoo Flip. So we're going to make a complete circle from starting with SpruceOS on the TSPS to ending it with SpruceOS on the Miyoo Flip. So we're going to go ahead and do a quit. We're going to go ahead and do a shutdown. We're going to go ahead and then remove the card. And we're lastly going to install SpruceOS in here, which has already been running once before. So we'll go ahead and boot this up as our third boot of firmware options. So this just kind of gives you an example of what you might want to decide on, what gameplay you're looking for, and what platforms you like to use, and what theme maybe you like to be able to show off. There's a lot of varieties out there. We're booting up Spruce version 4.3.4. That's their latest as well. So there we go. Basically, there is Spruce. We've got Nintendo 64. It actually ended where we were last at, Mystical Ninja. We've got media. We've got Nintendo DS. We've got ports. So, for example, if we wanted to go over to Plants and Zombies, this is running through ports. Let's see if we're successful here. And there we are. As it's loading, this is a PortMaster game working on SpruceOS PortMaster. We're going to go ahead and start our adventure. Good image on the screen. Has a little bit of a delay while it's loading. So just be patient. There we go. It's actually rebooting again. There we go, Plants vs. Zombies. You've got your mouse to move out and run around and be able to select. Seems like the falling sun is collected, but for some reason I'm not able to get to the pea shooter, so it doesn't allow me to get to that portion of the game and click on it for some reason. So I've kind of gotten dead-ended right here, but I did want to show you that Plants and Zombies does work. We'll go ahead and exit out of that. And we'll select over here a PSP game. So a couple games that I've done recently and tested, they were basically on the same, on my other device. So if we were going to go to Outrun 2006, let's go ahead and select it. It's failed to connect to retro achievements. I don't know how that's set up right now. It basically took me right to my save spot. Do we want to try again? Absolutely. So, audio is extremely loud. Image is running about 30 frames per second using the analog stick. Or you could use the D-pad. So again, this could be played on the brick. Working great. Audio. So if I go over to my menu, let's go ahead and pause that for a second. We'll go down to our settings just to share my settings really quick. I've got the OpenGL at 2x resolution, replacing my textures. It does have my click at full screen and VSync. I do have the auto frame as clicked for 2 skips. I've got everything else unlimited. Scrolling down, basically the same settings. I can take my anisotropic filtering and bring it down to 4. I've got my frame counter. So as far as I want to go, working great. I would say this is a playable game. Not a problem. Even with the low, just around 30 to 40 frames per second. Image is working really well. I prefer using a D-pad for driving. So, there again, out of my options I've been able to share today. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you find the right firmware that's able to be used for your TSPS or your Miyoo Flip or even your Brick or Hammer or Trimui Smart Pro. Thanks for watching Beyond the Emulator and have a great day. Happy gaming.